Flow control in Java directs the flow of execution in your programs. So basically, when you write your methods, you would not necessarily want all the statements in your method to be executed sequentially one after the other, right? So there might be a case where you would like to have certain set of statements to be executed based on some conditions, right? Or there might be a scenario where you would like certain set of statements to be executed repeatedly based on some conditions. So you are going to achieve that using the flow control statements, and in this section we are going to see how. Okay. So here we are going to see what are the different flow control statements we have in Java and how you use it. Okay. So I've got a table with two columns. The first column is nothing but the syntax of the statement, and the second column is the example where we are going to see how you actually code that in your programs. The first flow control statement I have is if else. So basically the if statement is going to check for a particular condition, and if that condition is true, it's going to execute certain set of statements, else it's going to execute certain other set of statements, right? So if you see the syntax here, I have if condition 1 is true, executes certain set of statements, else if condition 2 is true, execute some other set of statements, else if none of the above are true, execute certain set of statements. Okay, so here I've got only one else if given here, but in reality you can have a number of else if statements in between the if and else, right? So what are the valid combinations I can have with this else if else if conditions? So there are only two rules to it. One is the if condition has to be the first statement in this block, if else blocks, and if at all you have an else statement, it's got to be the last statement in the block. So if you can write any combination of if else blocks which abide to these two rules, you're going to have a syntax free code without any errors. Okay, so let's have a look at the example here. We have an integer a whose value is 10, and here we are doing a check. If a is less than 10, print some statement, else if a is greater than 10, print some other statement, else print some statement. Okay, so since value of a is neither greater than 10 nor greater than 10, it's equal to 10, so it's going to go into the else block, and it's going to print whatever is there in this else block. So it's going to print equal to 10, so that's going to be our result out. Okay, alright, now switch. So basically in switch it's somewhat similar to the if statement, right? So you give a value in the switch statement, okay, and what you have in case is basically a list of potential results to the value, right? So say for example, if the value matches case A, then these statements are going to be executed, else if the value matches case B, then this set of statements is going to be executed. Similarly, you have a default which is very similar to else. So if none of the above are true, it's going to execute the default, right? So one thing to note here is in switch you can only have integers, only numbers, so you can't have strings in these switch statements. Okay, so taking an example, the same thing as earlier, int a is 10. So when I give a switch statement, case 1 would mean that I'm actually checking for value given in switch with 1, right? So I'm having some print statements out there. Case 10, I'm checking if the value is equal to 10, printing some statements. Default, if none is true, print this. So one thing to note here is whenever you give certain set of statements in your case block, you should give a break here. If not, if your value is going to match any of the cases, it's actually going to execute all the statement until the end unless it finds a break, right? So at the end of each case statement, each case block, you need to give a break statement, right? So that's about switch. So one more difference between the if and switch is basically in if you can check for different kind of conditions, whereas in switch you can only check for equality condition. You can only check if the value of a is equal to 1 or is equal to 10. So you can't check here if the value of a is greater than 10, something like that, right? Okay, next, do while and while. So now if you want to execute certain set of statements repeatedly, okay, you go for do while, you can also go for while, and you can also go for loop, which we will be talking in the next slide. Okay, so what's the difference between do while and while? They are basically almost the same. So basically, if you look at the syntax at do while statement, you have the do block where you execute certain statements, and then you write a while condition. Okay, so until this condition is true, the statements in the do block are going to be executed, right? So if you look at the example, int I is equal to 0, do system.out.println in do, right, I plus plus, while I is less than 10. So until this condition holds true, it's going to execute the statement in the do loop, do block. So what it's going to print? It's going to print in do 11 times, because this statement is going to hold true for 11 times. Now coming to the while, it's almost very similar, right? You don't have a do here, you only have while. So while the condition is to execute certain set of statements, right? So similarly, the example is very similar here. So what's the difference between do while and while? The difference is, say the condition fails in the very first case, for example. Now let's take an example where I is 10 and not 0. Okay, what would happen? Say I is 10 and not 0, okay, initially. So when you do a do while, it's going to print in do first, and it's going to check while I is less than 10. No, it's false, I is not less than 10. So it's going to come out of the loop. So it's going to print this in do one time, right? But when you come to while, it's first going to check the condition while I is less than 10. 10 is less than 10? No, false. So it's simply going to come out of this loop. So if there is no condition matched, if there is not even a single match in a do while, the statements execute at least once. So you're sure that even though there's no match, it's going to execute at least once. But when you come to while, the statement will not execute if there is no match. So that's the difference between do while and while statements. The for loop again is used for the same reasons you use a while loop, to execute a certain set of statements repeatedly based on some conditions, right? So if you have a look at the syntax here for the for loop, so the first statement basically has three things in it. The first thing is initialize, then providing a condition, and then an expression. So most of the times what you initialize is nothing but a counter. So say for example, I want to execute a certain set of statements a number of times, right? 10 number of times. So I'll have to have a counter so that I can keep track of the number of times the statements are being executed. So here in the initialize block, I initialize nothing but the counter. So if you see the example given here, it says for int I is equal to 10. So here I'm initializing the value of I to be 10, and I is nothing but a counter here, right? And in the condition I give I less than 10. So it means till I is less than 10, I want to execute these statements within this for block. And how the value of I is going to be changed? Using the expression, whatever again given the expression, right? So in the expression I give I plus plus. So basically in the expression, I can, most of the times it's either going to be an increment or decrement operation, right? So let's see how it really works. So when the control comes to this for loop, for the first time the control comes to this for loop, it actually executes whatever is there in the initialization block. So it executes int I is equal to 0. So this initialization is done only once, right? And then it's going to check for the condition. I is less than 10? Yes, because I is 0, it's less than 10. Now if the condition is matched, it goes into the for loop and it executes whatever is there in this loop, right? Whatever is there within this for statement. So it executes this system.out.println in for. Then again it goes back here and what it does now is it executes whatever is there in the expression. So in the expression what I have I plus plus, so it's going to increment the value of I to 1 now, right? And then it's again going to check for the value of I for this condition. So it's going to do this every time until this condition becomes false. Then it's going to come out of this loop and execute the next statements after the for loop, right? So I hope this is pretty simple. So basically most of the time you can use either a while loop or the for loop, but the advantage I think you have with the for loop is you can put everything in one line itself, one statement itself, whereas in while you've got to keep track of things at multiple places, right? So right, that's it about the flow control.